Hi everyone, this is Brian Hayes and welcome to a tutorial on advanced tongue level playing for the flute. If you haven't already checked out my tongue level basics tutorial for flute playing, please do so, as I won't be going over the basic groundwork that tutorial covers here in this advanced session. Today we're going to discover the power that minute movements in our tongue can create as far as ease of playing the high register on the flute. To get started, I want you to say with me the following three syllables. Ta, and we can think of that as being spelt as T-A-R. Tay, and we can think of that as being T-A-Y. And T, T-double-E. Now, if we sing those three syllables in an upward moving melody, it doesn't really matter what the pitches are that you sing, as long as they're getting progressively higher, you'll get the feeling of your tongue touching the top of the roof of your mouth in a progressively forward motion as you go through those three syllables. So, ta, te, ti. You'll feel that the point of your tongue where it touches the roof of your mouth is slightly further forward as you go through those three syllables. Ta, te, ti, ta, te, ti. Try and sing that with me now. Okay, after four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, te, ti. Did you feel the different point of your tongue that touches when you say those syllables? And you should feel that it moves forward maybe about a centimetre or even further forward than that as you go from the ta through to the T. Ta, te, ti. Now it's that movement of the tongue that we're going to use in the Overtone series exercise today that will take us right up to high C, but without using the conventional flute fingerings. Now today we're going to use the syllables ta, te, ti in combination with the Overtone series on the flute. We're going to assume that the lowest note we can play on the flute is low C. This flute I have actually has a low B foot extension on it, but most flutes only go down to low C. All flutes are capable of playing low C, with the exception of the piccolo flute. So in this tutorial, low C we're going to regard as the lowest fundamental tone we can produce on our flute. The Flute Overtone series progresses up an octave. The first overtone in the Overtone series will take our flute from low C to third space C in the music stave, this C. And that's said to be the first overtone on the flute. The second overtone is a major 12th higher than the starting note. So in a C scale, if you count up 12 notes from low C, you'll end up on G just above the music stave. So the G that we strike just on top of the fifth line of the 5 lines in music, this G. And that's a major 12th higher than low C. Now the exercise is to play those three notes, low C, third space C, and G just above the music stave, whilst holding the low C fingering. So we're going to use our tongue in the ta, te, ti positions. Now I can't sing a major 12th with my voice from low C, so I'm just approximating notes getting higher as I'm going through those syllables. It's not a matter of having to be able to sing the note you're playing on the flute, because our voices all have different range capabilities. The idea is that as we go up higher in the Overtone series, our tongue has to move forward and the touch point of the tongue moves further forward towards the front of our mouth than when we're playing low C. Just the same as that feeling you'll get if you sing ta, te, ti. The T is noticeably touching further towards the front of your mouth, and that's what you want, because that tongue level is going to help accelerate the air out through your lips without you feeling that you have to blow any harder at all to be able to play the high notes. Okay, let's put it into practice. First of all, let's play that series of notes using the conventional fingerings. So low C, third space C, and G above the stave. That's how we would normally play those notes. Now, I'm just legato tonguing those notes, a soft do type attack, and I'd like you to do the same. We're not slurring this series of notes at the moment. We're actually just gently tonguing them. So keeping these three tones in mind, the three syllables ta, te, ti, we now hold the low C fingering and try to reproduce those three notes whilst holding low C. I hope you noticed when I played that overtone series that my fingers did not move on the flute, and there was no obvious sort of contortions of my face, and I certainly didn't blow harder as I went higher. So if you're tempted to change your fingering, or you feel that you have to change your fingering, if you feel you've got to contort your face or you've got to blow harder, you're on the wrong track. The overtone series is really relying on your tongue level position to adjust the oral cavity inside of your mouth to be able to force the flute to play higher up than it intended to. Don't forget, in that example, the flute was expecting to just play low C. But by using the ta, te, ti syllables, not forcing the air, we were able to make the flute play a major 12th higher than it expected to play. Now, the exciting news is the same overtone series applies as we move chromatically up the fingerings on the flute. So if we move now to low C sharp and treat that as our lowest note on the flute, the overtone series becomes low C sharp in the third space of music, no fingers on the flute, and G sharp just above the music stave. So using the conventional fingerings, those notes are this. So low C sharp, middle C sharp, G sharp above the stave. Now our challenge is to play those same three notes whilst holding our fingers on the low C sharp fingering. And again, you'll notice I didn't move my fingers, I didn't contort my face, and I certainly didn't blast the air to get the high note. We take it up to the next note, which is D. So the three notes will be D just below the 5 lines in music, 4th line D, and then A just above the 5 lines of music. So using the standard fingerings on the flute, low D will be our 3 fingers on both hands. We'll lift up our index finger on the left hand for the middle D, and A will be played like low A, but up an octave higher than low A. Like this is just like this. This is the standard fingerings for that progression. But our overtone exercise is to hold low D and produce those same 3 notes using our tongue in the ta, te, ti syllable positions. Now, if we keep working our way up the chromatic scale, the next note in the overtone series will be low D sharp, and the 3 notes will be low D sharp, middle D sharp, high A sharp. So the conventional fingerings, low D sharp, we lift our index finger up on the left hand for middle D sharp, and then we'll play A sharp. I'm just going to play it using the thumb B flat fingering because we know we're not going to have to move chromatically, melodically in this exercise. So conventional fingerings. Applying the overtone series, holding the low D sharp fingering throughout. Now, as you play the higher notes in the overtone series, they will not be perfectly in tune. They will sound fuzzy and they'll probably sound a little flat, or they might even sound a little sharp. Don't be too concerned about that, because remember, we will never be using those fingerings when we're actually playing those notes on the flute. This is a tongue level exercise to develop precision in your ability to move your tongue in the ta, te, ti positions and create notes that the flute isn't expecting you to be able to play. The same concept is how we can play up very high with ease, because we are being super efficient with the use of our air and the coordination of our air, our tongue, our lips and our fingers. Okay, we move one more step up the chromatic scale, and now we end up on E, low E. So the three notes in the overtone series will be low E, middle E and high B. So in conventional fingerings, those notes will sound like this. But applying the overtone series, we will hold the low E fingering throughout. And we played high B whilst fingering low E, a major 12th above our foundation note in the series. Now finally, for this tutorial, we'll extend it to the next note in the chromatic scale, which is low F. And our three notes in the overtone series will be F in the bottom space of the music stave, to middle F, which is the top line of the 5 lines in music, and then the major 12th will bring us right up to the infamous high C, C above the ledger lines. So in conventional fingerings, we have this. But as we apply the overtone series, we keep our fingers on low F and we think of ta, te, ti. And we get a very solid high C whilst playing a low F. If you are new to the overtone series and tongue level playing on the flute, don't be surprised if you need to put in a lot of practice time to be able to accurately pinpoint those first and second overtones in the series, as I've demonstrated throughout today's tutorial. It's very easy to overshoot the high note and end up an octave or higher above, but that's not what you're trying to develop. What you're trying to develop is the fine motor skills that will let you set your tongue, your embouchure, your breath control and your fingerings to accurately pinpoint notes that you hear in your head when you're playing. It's not about forcing the high notes by blowing faster or harder. It's about hearing the pitches in your head and fine-tuning the skills you need to gently hit those notes. Remember, throughout the tutorial today, I have been legato or soft tonguing the 3 notes, and I'd like you to work on that as you practice these exercises. I hope that's been of help to you. As always, keep in touch via my website. That's www.brianhayes.biz, B-I-Z, Z for Zorro. Drop me an email if you've got any basic questions about playing the flute. and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you're kept updated when I release new videos on the many instruments that I play and teach. Bye for now.